Today is Wednesday, November 19th, 2025, and it is 5 p.m. I'd like to welcome you all to this meeting of the Bismarck Planning and Zoning Commission. I will call the meeting to order and ask Sarah to please call the roll.
Commissioner Bittner?
Here.
Commissioner Field?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Larson? Commissioner Schell?
Here.
Commissioner Schmitz?
Here.
Commissioner Sivak? Commissioner Wangen? Commissioner Zent?
Here.
Chair Schwartz.
Thank you, Sarah. We will move on to the first item on our agenda this evening, which is to consider the approval of the minutes from the October 22nd, 2025 meeting. Commissioners, what are your wishes?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Zent.
I second it.
Second from Commissioner Field. Any discussion, commissioners? Seeing none, Sarah, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Schell?
Yes.
Commissioner Field?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz?
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zent?
Yes.
And Vice Chair Johnson.
Yes, the motion is approved. The next item on our agenda is the public comment period. So any comment, anyone that wishes to address any item on the previous month's agenda or an item that's on this month's agenda that does not have a public hearing tonight is welcome to come up and address the commission. So just to make sure everyone understands, there are 3 public hearings later on in this meeting, and so this is not the public hearing time for those specific agenda items. This is just an open public hearing time. So anyone that would like to address the commission this evening is welcome to, or I'll open up the public hearing first, and then anyone wishing to address the commission tonight is welcome to come up and speak. Second call for public comment. Third and final call for public comment. Okay, I will now close the public comment time for tonight's meeting. And we will move on to the consent agenda. We have one item on our consent agenda this evening, and that is Meadow Village Edition First Replat. It is a planned unit development amendment, and staff recommendation is to call for a public hearing. I'd like to consider a motion at this time.
Move to call for the public hearing. Move to call for the public hearing for the item on consent.
Okay, move to call for public hearing from Mayor Schmitz.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Zent. Any discussion, commissioners? Seeing none, Sarah, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Field?
Yes.
Commissioner Schell?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz?
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zent?
Yes.
And Vice Chair Johnson.
Yes, the motion is approved. We will move on to tonight's regular agenda. There are 3 items on this evening's agenda. Our first item is number 4A, and that is Pebble Creek Edition, Block 9, Lot 33, zoning map amendment. And Lauren has our report this evening.
Good evening, Vice Chair Johnson and Commissioners. Jenny, I'm going to butcher your last name, Matala, with consent from the current owners, Kirk and Annie Blackwood, requests approval of a zoning map amendment from the R5 residential zoning district to the conditional RT zoning district on Lot 33, Block 9, Pebble Creek Edition. The request would permit the additional use of youth and young adult group grief therapy and caregiver support services for Soul 57. The request, as you can see on the screen here, is located in central Bismarck, north of East Century Avenue and east of State Street, in the northeast quadrant of the intersection of North 19th Street and Oregon Drive. Adjacent uses include open space and single-family multi-residential to the north, single-family residential to the east, single and 2-family residential to the south, and a church, multi-family residential, and undeveloped commercial land to the west. The property has been identified as urban neighborhood in the future land use plan. The public was notified of this request A notice was published in the Bismarck Tribune on November 7th and 14th, and 31 postcards were mailed to the owners of nearby properties on November 7th. A physical sign providing information on the public hearing was placed in a publicly accessible spot at the project location on November 4th. Staff has received several comments regarding this request. Staff has received 4 phone calls from various individuals around that area, and an additional 10 formal written comments were also received. Those written comments were forwarded to the commission prior to this meeting. The comments from both the phone calls and some of the written comments that were against the proposed request included concerns related to the use expanding beyond grief counseling in the future, parking and traffic concerns, property value concerns, and the use not fitting in with the current neighborhood character. Some of the written comments that were in support of the proposed request noted that a residential atmosphere is important for the grief work conducted, ensuring safety and stability for those attending the sessions. The request was evaluated according to standards contained within the Comprehensive Plan, Bismarck Code of Ordinances, and relevant state law. The applicant is proposing to amend the zoning in this area from the R5 residential zoning district, which allows multiple uses. Thank you. As you can see on the screen here, typical uses include both single-family residence as well as a multitude of other types of uses. And the applicant is looking to propose a conditional RT residential district, which would allow a single-family residence, as well as the youth and young adult group grief therapy support use. As you can see on the screen, there are additional development standards that are also consistent with either the R5 residential or home occupation requirements. As you can see, it's similar to the setbacks, lot coverage. This slide, oh, thank you. No, you're good. The building height as well is very similar. Additionally, maintaining a residential appearance, if you want to flip to the next, thank you. Maintaining a residential appearance of the property, hours of operation, number of visitors to the property at a given time, and sign restrictions are also similar, either mirroring the home occupations or in some cases being a little bit more restrictive. Both the current R5 with the home occupation allowance as well as the proposed conditional RT would not allow any overnight visitors for those specific uses. The applicant has also submitted a waiver from the landscape buffering requirements that would be required on the north side of the property due to the higher intensity zoning. Reasons for the waiver include site constraints, including the site's topography. Staff find this justification to be valid given the conditions placed within the proposed district. The applicant has also noted that Evangel, which is across North 19th Street, will allow the use of their parking lot for occasional overflow if that does become an issue. Most standards included in the proposed conditional RT residential zoning district would be similar, again, if not more restrictive to the R5 residential zoning district, including some of those uses and development standards. As a result of findings contained in the staff report, staff find that the proposed zoning map amendment would not adversely impact the public health, safety, and general welfare. Therefore, staff recommends approval of a zoning map amendment from the R5 residential zoning district to the conditional RT zoning district on Lot 33, Block 9, Pebble Creek Addition. Do you have any questions?
Commissioners, questions for Lauren? Commissioner Schell.
Lauren, as it regards to the traffic potential impact, can you, I guess, elaborate on what the requirements would be for a structure of that size that has the use of a group or therapy or youth therapy, you know, what their parking requirements would be, and if this site would meet that requirement?
Great question, Commissioners Schell, Vice Chair and Commissioners. So the current property's square footage is just under 2,400 square feet for the gross floor area. So that doesn't include their garage space, but the general living areas. So if that size of a building were, say, an office building in another district, 15 parking spaces would be required for the type of use that would be conducted here. The property has 8 off-street parking spaces, both with the garage and the driveway component, and there's an additional 5 on-street for a total of 13 spaces. Those on-street parking spaces are those spaces that are directly adjacent to the property and would follow the minimum requirement for counting those on-street parking spaces.
Okay, so even, if I could just follow up, even though they might have an agreement with the church parking lot adjacent to it or kitty corner, this site by itself would be adequately parked if approved, as far as ordinance is concerned?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Thank you, Lauren. I will open the public hearing for this agenda item. Is either the requester or a representative here that would like to address this item?
Good evening, Commissioners and
Could I
Mayor
ask you
Schmitz.
to please put your name on the
Yep.
sign-in sheet there too, and let us know your name as well.
Good evening. My name's Jenny Matala. I am the founder and executive director at Soul 57. We are a nonprofit here in Bismarck area. We've been serving the community for about 2 years. When we submitted our application, I included a 4-page letter, and so I think you guys heard plenty of my background and why we're doing what we're doing. And so tonight I come to you just to alleviate some of the concerns that have been brought up by the neighborhood. I want to respect their concerns and make sure people feel comfortable as we move forward. In terms of parking, as we just discussed, we do have written and verbal permission from Evangel Church to use the kitty corner parking lot to have any overflow traffic. We have not in the last 2 years ever received or needed to have any overflow. We have 4 parking spaces where we currently reside or where we live or have our operation, and those 4 parking spaces have sufficed over the last 2 years, and then some off-street parking when kids are being picked up or dropped off. On those evenings, and it's typically 6 evenings per month, we would have parents dropping kids off between the hours of 5:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Very minimal window of time in which there would be any traffic in the area. Otherwise, it's 2 full-time staff and then 2 interns. And most often, the interns wouldn't work on premise other than those Thursday evenings. Additionally, the purpose for use of this space is for peer grief support. It's at most about 12 children come into our facility. We have activities, we have conversation, we have dinner, and then they leave the premise. There's never an overnight stay. There's never cause for them to be roaming around the neighborhood. They are on our premise at all times. And for future use, should we ever need to relinquish the home, we would go back to that R5 zoning that is written in. It is a conditional zoning, and so their future use for it would never factor into other businesses taking it over. This was just a very conditional purpose since our operation has the need for more of that comfortable, safe space for the youth who are grieving the loss of a loved one. Thank you, guys.
1 second. Commissioners, any questions for Jenny?
Sorry.
No problem.
I do.
Commissioner Field.
We forgot to mention you're a Finlander.
Well, that's a married name, but yes, it's
Oh.
Finnish. Good job recognizing.
Well, I'm only half.
Okay.
The other half argues with it. It's Norwegian.
I'm
So-
very Norwegian, so you got me there.
Yeah, so I was bred for temperament. The problem I have with these things, this is almost like a chicken argument again. I mean, when a community buys into a neighborhood, and you know what the zoning is, it's hard to change the zoning because the people that own homes around it don't know if they're gonna lose money. And there's a lot of places that do counseling that aren't in a residential neighborhood. I mean, the AMVETS, people use the meeting rooms there all the time. And you could meet there for free and have a parking lot. So they have veterans that meet there all the time. So it's hard for me to sit here and say that if this can affect everybody else's property value, there are other places that low to no cost that you could meet. And that's why I have a hard time rezoning a neighborhood because of that. Even though it appears to be legitimate, but I don't think I'd be happy if that happened next to my house.
Understood. We do have some statistics that prove that these sorts of groups, these peer grief supports, do operate better in a home type setting. It's a very vulnerable situation when you bring youth in who have gone through traumatic losses. And so we just want them to feel as safe as comfortable. We have looked at office spaces, and for one reason or another, we just all have that better feeling when we go into a residential space, into a home setting. As for property values, we do have some research that shows other neighborhoods in the Bismarck community that have had operations based inside a home within the community, and their property values have not been affected. So we will absolutely address that, and it's a very important concern, and we want to take them all seriously. We just know that from our experience, what we're doing at our organization, that home setting does have a better appeal to the families involved.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
The podium is open for anyone else that would like to address this agenda item.
Hello, my name is Annie Blackwood. Sorry about that. My water bottle doesn't fit there. Okay, from the time I became a mother, I always dreamed that my home would be that home. The home where friends gathered for snacks, birthday parties, holidays, a place of warmth, laughter, and belonging. Our family's story began in 2001, where we attended college and doctorate school. We added 4 beautiful children. In 2009, our path brought us to North Dakota for an internship, and by 2011, we'd started our own business, and with that growth came the opportunity to purchase a much larger home than we were currently residing in. And it was a home big enough for our growing children. In 2013, we moved into that house, and it has held our hearts forever. I'm emotional about it because it is a very important and very special place for me. That house is at 1901 Oregon Drive. We raised our 4 children in that home. The neighborhood became an extension of our family. We shared vacations, holidays, and weekends with kids running around the yard, lemonade stands, and laughter filling the kitchen. Inside the walls, there were always a puzzle on the table, a pot simmering on the stove, and a pile of shoes by the door, which was our favorite sign that love was present. Every child who walked through the door was welcomed with acceptance, a snack, a meal, and a genuine conversation. This home became a safe place, not just for our own children, but for many others who needed one. In 2021, when our oldest daughter graduated and moved away for college, we found ourselves with extra space, and we felt called to use that with purpose. The same year, we became licensed foster parents, and we opened our home to 4 additional children at one time in need of stability, while their mother received mental health support. We became a family of 9 in that home. Over the months that followed, our home became a haven for them, filled with reassurance, laughter, and unconditional love. After they reunited with their mother, we continued to open our doors to other youth, including a young man whose family could not care for him. Through him came many new friendships, mentorship, and deep conversations about life, faith, and hope. We've housed over 10 foster children in that home, half of them being long-term stays. All of that happened within the walls of 1901 Oregon Drive. Now that our own children are grown, we began to think what's next for us. At first, we prayed for the right buyer, someone who would love this home as much as we have. But over time, our prayer changed. We realized that this home was meant to continue what it's always done, to serve. Shortly after we changed our focus prayer, Soul 57 came to look at our home and soon after made an offer. Soul 57 is not just purchasing a property, they're stepping into a legacy. That they will continue the very spirit that has filled 1901 Oregon Drive for more than a decade, creating safe, nurturing, home-like environment where children and teens can feel seen, supported, and loved. Research shows that grieving youth thrive best in places that feel like home, warm, welcoming, and personal. This house already embodies that atmosphere. We have created that. It is already proven to be a place of refuge and restoration. I would still support the efforts of Soul 57, whether it be my home or another home in this neighborhood or in this community. These kids deserve that. So tonight, I respectfully ask that the city approve the rezoning of 1901 Oregon Drive to allow Soul 57 to continue this important mission to transform this home from a place that has served many informally into one that will serve intentionally for years to come. Because 1901 has always been more than a house, it's been a home, a safe place, and a beginning place for hope. And if you ever stop by, you'll still see that familiar sight, a pile of shoes by the door, reminding us that love lives here and will continue to live here through Soul 57. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions for Annie? Thank you. Podium is open for anyone else that would like to address this item.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Sarji Nowitzki, and I'm the Executive Director for Arts for All. I'm here in support of a zoning ordinance change so Soul 57 can purchase a home where they will be providing services. I've known Jenny Matala, the Executive Director of Soul 57, for over 2 years. I was introduced to Jenny as she was starting Soul 57. I have worked closely with her on numerous occasions as my nonprofit has partnered with Soul 57 on art workshops. I myself have witnessed the impact Soul 57 has made on our youth. Soul 57 provides an irreplaceable lifeline for youth who have experienced the profound loss of a parent, sibling, or primary caregiver. Soul 57 provides a stabilizing force for kids navigating one of the hardest seasons of their lives. Under the guidance of licensed professionals, Soul 57 creates a safe space where young people can connect with peers who understand their grief, build coping skills, and begin to heal. There is simply no substitute for what they offer. The zoning change is an investment in the health, stability, and long-term well-being for our community's youth. Bismarck prides itself on being a community that shows up for its neighbors. Soul 57 is doing exactly that, meeting young people where they are, filling a gap that no other organization currently fills, and doing it with professionalism and compassion. I urge the committee to approve the requested zoning ordinance change so Soul 57 can continue providing the vital, therapeutic environment our young people deserve. This is a moment for a zoning decision to reflect our community values. Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions? Thank you. The podium is open. No.
Good evening. My name is Heather Demery. I have known the Blackwoods since I moved to 2908 Arizona Drive in 2015. My family was so happy to move into this safe space because we've lived in apartments prior, but my little family was growing, and unfortunately, where I was living was becoming not children friendly. And during this time, my daughter lost her father. Eventually, my son lost his father 5 years later, and I was a single mother of 3 children, and I didn't have much support. So had there been a safe space such as Soul 57 in my neighborhood, it would have been a godsend, a weight lifted off my shoulders. Grief is heavy and it's scary. It's something we all experience in some way, in some form, eventually. And for children, it's crucial to have support. I've lost my mother at 28 years old, and that was the most trying time of my life. And I can't imagine being a child and feeling those overwhelming feelings of grief, you know, and this atmosphere, a neighborhood, and a home environment that will like set the tone and it will create that safe space for these scared children who come in for these services. I support my friends, the Blackwoods, whom have been godsend to so many people, families, including myself and my children. And they've opened their doors to many children to help be a beacon of hope. And I support the mission and passion for her to be so motivated to pass on that torch to Soul 57, who cares so deeply to make a difference in children's lives, our youth's lives. And it takes a village, and these children are our future. We either be that intervention now, or we reap those consequences in the future with mental health issues as adults. So please take into consideration all of these letters of support, and thank you.
Commissioners, any questions? I've got one for you really quickly. So
Sure.
do you still live in the neighborhood?
I do not now.
Okay.
I bought a home 3 years ago on Lexington Drive down the road.
Okay, all right, thank you. Podium is open.
Evening. My name is Ken Keitlinger. I'm at 1936 Oregon Drive. Bought my home a little over 2 years ago. I bought specifically in this neighborhood because it was a nice neighborhood, fairly quiet, besides the traffic on 19th Street, which is kind of a booger getting home sometimes, but you know, that's life. That's all right. I am not in favor of this at all. I've got many concerns with parking. Okay, yeah, they said they got an agreement with the church, but what happens when something goes wrong there? People get upset, they say can't do it anymore. That's going to add a lot of issues, I feel. I'm concerned about my market value of my home because this is a residential neighborhood. It's not meant for running a business out of it. I just have grave concerns, and I urge you guys all to vote no on this. I specifically bought in this neighborhood for my family, and I just don't think this is the right area for them. I applaud them for what they're doing because they sound like a great organization, but there's other facilities, there's other buildings. You can get a building, you can decorate it, you can make it look just like a home in a business district. You don't have to be in a residential neighborhood to have that happen. And, you know, nobody can sit here and say it's not going to affect my market value. Nobody. But I honestly feel that it will if I go down the road to sell my house. I paid almost $500,000 for my house. I don't want to lose value. And in my heart of hearts, I feel that we absolutely will. Everybody in that neighborhood. And I'm less than 100 yards, maybe 100 yards from their front door. I urge you all, please, do not rezone this. Because if you rezone it for this, someone else is going to get the next idea for something else, someone else, and it's just going to be a snowball effect. There's other areas within our community, there's buildings that are available right now. The folks who own the home now, beautiful upkeep, and I'm sure these people would do the same. And I've never talked to either one of them, but there's only 2 people here that are going to profit from this. That's the owner now that's selling the home and the Soul 57. Nobody else will profit. I urge you guys, please, do not do this to any of those families in that neighborhood. Think of all those houses over there, down Oregon Drive, up Arizona, that are close to that. There's a lot of folks affected, especially if you sit down and you really think about it, gentlemen, when there's other areas in town that this could be brought into. That would be a more appropriate setting than a residential neighborhood. That is all.
Commissioners, questions for Ken? Commissioner Field?
So have any of your neighbors talked to a realtor to see what their input is? Or are we just assuming it's gonna,
I have a call into mine, the one that I purchased my home from, and I have not got a call back from her. I wish I had that information for you, sir, but I was actually looking, I thought ahead for that.
is there a realtor here?
There's a couple that,
I'm going to speak to this issue when I take my turn.
okay, that sounds good.
That was my only question.
Okay, thank you.
Additional questions? All right, thank you, Ken. The podium is open. Oh, I didn't.
My name's John Witt. I live 5 houses down the street from this house on Arizona Drive. I had sent a letter regarding the rezoning and was texted this morning by the individual who received my text and said that it had been submitted to the group. I'm going to reread part of that, even though the commissioners have it, because I had some additional thoughts since I wrote the letter. We, meaning me and my wife, are adamantly opposed to the whole idea of rezoning our living area. The lady who occupies the house at this time, we spoke to on her driveway one day, a few days ago, after viewing the sign for the first time. We did not receive a postcard in the mail. Just 5 houses down, I understand that only those within 350 feet of the home received postcards. That's a joke. That's the width of some yards. People have 200 feet of Lake Avenue and they think they've got a grand deal. 350? Well, that's a joke. She was vague in describing what was coming to her unsold house. If the zoning change is allowed to occur, I'm not comfortable with just taking it to heart that Soul 57 is in this for grief. They're spending $589,000 to buy this house, which in the words of Zillow is still overpriced to $16,000. That's a realtor agency, or that it's listed with Zillow, as well as other listing agencies. They say it more appropriately would be priced at $573,000. Even if you have 12 people in there, do you really need 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms and 4 garages? I have concerns. Is anybody going to live in this home? Who's going to take care of maintenance? Who's going to take care of upkeep? Who's going to keep the place looking? I mean, there's 4 streets into this whole idea that turn off of Century and 19. One is on the south, that's Arizona, Oregon into this place, and then there's 2 other streets further down. One on the Oregon side, and 25% of people, at least 25% of people that come into this neighborhood, driving by this house is the first thing they see as they enter our area there. That place needs to be kept up, and I don't know who's going to take care of that. We have been told the property has had an offer representing a corporate entity and they can't consummate the deal without securing. But when I think of it, we are here today because a corporate entity has got an offer on an unsold home after 6 months of the home being listed that isn't selling. And we're supposed to trust them that they're not going to expand to more than grief counseling, maybe addiction, maybe family counseling, maybe alcohol and drug counseling. Who knows? Is there any restrictions in the rezoning that say they can't do that kind of thing? I doubt that there is. But I would be interested in finding out if there are any restrictions on the new zoning caveats as they come along. Hours are 8 to 5 or something now. People that are working, how do we know they're not going to open up and have things there until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night? Traffic has been brought up. Well, there's a lot of traffic on 19th Avenue these days. It can take 15 minutes to turn left or even turn right sometimes out of that intersection going on 19th. And saying that it's a safe area, it's down a hill on Arizona, and you come around on Oregon and turn a hill downhill both ways. And if there's a bunch of cars there, that street gets icy in the wintertime, and as everybody knows, you don't stop quick on ice. So that would be dangerous to have all those cars sitting around in there. The intersection is going to get busier even yet because there's some construction going on across the way. Just off of Oregon, just as the street crosses 19th, they built a turnaround in there just north of the church property. And they've got a road finished off of the other street that comes right down to those apartments that are there. And I hear that is supposed to be some kind of indigenous citizens building or something that's going up in there. But the point of all this is there's going to be more traffic on this intersection there. And I don't think it's going to be completely safe. The realty issue, I just moved into the area 4 years ago. When we got word of this, we called the realtor who sold us the property and a couple of additional realtors we talked to as well. The realtor that sold us the property, when my wife presented the situation to her, was a fraction of a second before she said, absolutely a bad idea. It will adversely affect property prices that you can receive in the future. Not because what's going to be there at first, but I don't. The only people I don't trust is Soul 57. I don't know what their intent is. Somebody mentioned why don't they do it free someplace else? There's a big church right there, and there's this teen place that's right across that's what's kitty corner from this property that the people are using. They got teen things in there. And why don't they talk to those guys if they see if they could go in there? How are they going to cash flow this property? I mean, they're spending $589,000 plus property taxes every year. How are they going to cash flow that? Questions?
Commissioners, any questions for John? Commissioner Schell.
Maybe a statement, John, in some of your remarks, you indicated are the restrictions in the zoning as proposed would restrict the uses to be a single-family dwelling or a health and medical group, but limited only to youth and young adult group grief therapy and caregiver support services. So they would not be able to add additional services without being in violation of the zoning ordinance. So if that was the case, they would presumably come back to this board to ask for additional services, and a similar conversation would take place again in the community. So as it stands today, or all that they are asking for and all that would be allowed would be young youth and young adult group grief therapy, and that's really all that's allowed at that site under the
Who
proposed
manages
zoning.
Soul 57? They don't add additional treatment modalities.
If I may, Vice Chair, I guess it would be treated similar to any other zoning infraction potentially in the community. If there's something happening, a use that's not allowed, it would be something that our community development, or I should say planning and or building inspections departments would evaluate and work with that landowner on rectifying that, or going through a process like this to make it allowable if that's the correct procedure to use.
All right.
So just wanted to share, I mean, you asked questions, so I just wanted to provide that, what
Okay.
this is and what this isn't. So it is just that, and that is all that would be allowed.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Hello.
Hello, my name is Serena Peltzer. I grew up in Tuttle, and I've lived here for over a decade. I'm here because I care deeply about what this rezoning would mean for the children in our community. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. I'm a single parent, a mother of 3. I've been a foster parent, and I've also worked with an organization in Ecuador with orphans who have no families to return home to. I've seen what grief looks like in a child's eyes. I've held children who carry more heartbreak than their small bodies know how to hold or even understand. And I know without question that the environment around them matters. I know that's why Soul 57 is asking for this. Working in an orphanage, I saw firsthand what institutionalization, and that's not what's happening at Soul 57. But you see in an orphanage the frailty of a child's heart. And at that point, it could kill them or delay them so severely that I saw 2-year-olds who had never learned how to roll over or walk or talk. They laid, like we joked, that they were a beached whale. I know it's the same for grieving children who have lost families. I saw it in my own children when I divorced a man who was abusive to us. I saw it in the child I took care of and raised for the time I had him as a foster parent, and the effects of grief on just a small baby. You brought up the AMVETS, and that is a public building where a vulnerable person would feel very exposed. There's social events going on at the same place, and I understand we're trying to find a good environment for this organization. Soul 57 is serving young people who are walking through the unimaginable, a death of a parent, sibling, loved one. Many of these children may not have other family members to turn to. They may not have grandparents or aunts or uncles or healthy ones to turn to in their grief. Some may not have any family at all anymore. Others may have caretakers who are struggling themselves, overwhelmed or emotionally unavailable. Soul 57 becomes a safe place where these children can go when they don't have another. They need a place that feels safe and not exposed or vulnerable. They need a place that feels like home. These kids aren't coming to Soul 57 for noise or crowds or to disturb neighborhoods. They're coming for gentleness, for someone to sit with them, for a warm, familiar environment, a warm meal to share with what would maybe feel like a family setting in a family home that they don't have anymore. I understand that some neighbors have concerns, and I truly respect that. I've been a homeowner myself, but this particular home sits on a major road. It's surrounded by apartments, a church, and group homes already woven into the neighborhood. This isn't a drastic shift. It's a continuation of what the area already supports. The presence of Soul 57 in this home, when it disturbed the neighborhood, it would quietly serve the children who need it most, we brought up the issue of parking. Soul 57 said they've only ever used 4 parking spots. I don't think that's an issue moving forward, considering that this home would provide, I think you said 15. This program isn't about the number of parking spots. It's about creating the right environment for children who carry deep trauma. What they need is a home-like space with a living room, a kitchen table, a backyard, and rooms where they can breathe, cry, talk, and heal without feeling exposed or on display. AMVETS is a wonderful asset to our community, but it's not designed for therapeutic grief support for kids. The home environment is. This house is. Before I close, I want to ask you guys to reflect. If you were in this position, a young person who had lost a parent, maybe your entire family, where would you feel able to grieve and heal if you had nobody else to turn to? Especially if you had nobody else to turn to. Would you feel safer in a busy public hall, in an office building, or in a home where you could sit on a couch, be comforted, and feel human again? And if a home environment is best, if not this home, then where else could these children possibly go, if not there?
Commissioners, any questions for Serena? All right, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mitch Barda. I'm a resident, a 30-year resident of the neighborhood. I live on Nevada Street. My house is roughly 350 feet, 4 to 5 houses from the location. We built our first house. The area was zoned in 1992. We built our first house in 94 up there. 10 years later, moved across the street. Very nice neighborhood. I struggle with what brings us here today. I don't think anyone that opposes this zoning change has anything that opposes what Soul 57 does. I think it's a great program. I'm connected to the counseling world. My daughter works in the state of Montana, works with children ages 6 to 24, and I understand exactly what the program involves and what it does and how it benefits our community. What I do struggle with is how this location was considered. I know a few of you on the board here, I know you go out and look at locations. This isn't a Misty Waters issue. This isn't an ETA issue. This is a very comfortable R5 zoned family residential area that we're talking about today. And I look across the Bismarck area. I look in the corner of Avenue C and 9th Street, across from the eye clinic. Bismarck High School's right there. Lovely looking, good size facility there that has adequate parking that could be used that is very close to a similar zoning area. I look on, North 3rd Street, north of the post office. I see, businesses are changing through that area. What a perfect place to put a nice little counseling center like we're talking about today in that area also. And I think there's other areas across town. Right up here on 4th Street, up from the Women's Abused Adult Resource Center. A couple buildings up there that I think would fit this area properly also. Getting to talk about some safety issues. Getting to this area getting to the area, Pebble Creek area, I call it Pebble Creek Additional 1, I think is what it's called. You are on Century Avenue and 19th Street to be able to jump up in here. I call those two streets two of the 4 NASCAR streets in the Bismarck area, which is a different subject that we have to take up someplace else. I look at Arizona Street. There are 60 residents on Arizona Street. That involves a couple twin homes, involves a couple of multi-purpose areas, and then there's a lot of folks that travel from one end of Arizona that come by this piece of property and move on to 19th Street. I look at individuals coming from, we have a gas station on the corner. I forgot what it's called. Active Nutrition, a little sports drink shop. A lot of folks come through that area, do their business there as patrons, and then move down Oregon right by this property also to catch 19th and head up north. Okay, traffic on North 19th going north and south, just pulling out tonight, 10 minutes to 5, quarter to 5. I counted 62 cars that went by me before I could turn off of Oregon, right in front of the property, and take a left-hand turn to head down here. So traffic is very thick up in that area. Plus, you look at Nevada Street. I don't know how many houses on Nevada Street. The traffic that we take coming through that area and going off. And just the traffic flow through that area. As you can see, sometimes Century is backed up, and you'll get traffic moving up through Arizona, through Utah, through Iowa, turning off Century to get up to North 19th and skip that intersection of lights there on Century and 19th Street. We talk about parking in the church across the street. That's doable. I can't see individuals moving from that part of the area, 19th Street, moving across that busy street at, dark times of the evening, 5:30 to 7:30, what have you, a lot of traffic. I think if that's approved, or if this issue is approved, we'd have to look at some type of pedestrian crosswalk with the flashing lights going both ways to move people from that overflow parking area, as we call it, to the property itself. Pebble Creek Addition has been a residential area forever. I'd have to say an excellent residential area. And why the change now? I don't understand that. I'm really here for the past, the present, and the future of those residents. On my block in Arizona, in the last couple years, Jason, how long have you been there? A couple years? 3? Oh, 5 years been there? Okay. Even after Jason, the last 2-3 years, we've had 5 young families move into that area. I want them to experience a neighborhood that I've experienced the last 30 years. Okay, a well-run neighborhood. People are great. People are a lot of fun to be around. And nothing like that should change as we move on. I probably won't be there, maybe next 4 or 5 years. I'll be moving on into assisted living or something else. I don't know what it's going to be, but I really want this for those new folks that have moved in our community up there. I want them to be the leaders of that area. And we've got a lot of good families that are just starting out. And I don't think they would really agree with this either, what we're doing here, talking about tonight. In closing, some of you on the board here might live out of town. Some of you might live in town. But I ask you to take a moment and just walk out your front door in your mind, think about this, and take a look and look at 4 or 5 houses away and ask yourself, is this something that I would want where I'm at? I would probably say no, okay? I don't like it. I don't want this to happen in our area. I don't want this to be across from friends of ours and residents and neighbors of ours. I've got neighbors that know the parties real well too. This will not change our relationship as we move on with them. They know where I stand on the subject, and I know where they stand. I want the best for our new residents up there to have an area that I've had the past 30 years and into the future. Any questions from me at all?
Commissioners, questions for Mitch? No? Thank you.
All right, thank you for your time.
Hi. My name is Iggy, and I'm a resident of Bismarck. I've lived in the neighborhood just north of the home that's up for rezoning. I'm here today to show my support for the rezoning of 1901 Oregon Drive so it can become the meeting place for a youth grief support nonprofit. I've known the homeowner for over 5 years. I first met them through a foster child who lived in their home. And since then, I've visited many times. Their home has always been a safe, warm, and welcoming place for me. It's one of the few places where I've felt comfortable opening up about my feelings that I usually hold inside. I've worked through so many difficult times, and I've always received guidance, understanding, and support. I've also brought many friends to this place. Every one of them felt welcome, listened to, and cared for. Because of my own experience, I believe this nonprofit will make a meaningful difference for youth in our city. Many kids and teens struggle silently with their emotions and don't know where to turn. A supportive environment at 1901 Oregon Drive will give them a place to be heard, to talk, and to heal. For these reasons, I respectfully ask that you approve this rezoning. I fully support this project, and I believe it will bring real, lasting benefits to young people in Bismarck. Thank you for your time and understanding.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Thank you.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Modu Lamin Kirkbell, and I believe turning this home into a youth support center is truly a meaningful idea. For the past few years, I have spent a lot of time here, and it and it has always been a place where young people feel comfortable walking in, sitting down, and sharing what they're going through. It's warm. It's warm. It's safe, and it has always been a refuge for teen who just need somewhere to land. When my father passed away a few years ago, I didn't have anywhere to go to open up, but this home, I just I found comfort. I sat down and talked honestly about what I was going through, and actually felt heard. That experience has stayed with me. Sorry. Okay. That's why I support this rezoning. This house has a history of helping young people through difficult moments. Turning it into a youth support center would simply continue the legacy, keeping it as a place where grieving youth can be supported, understood, and cared for. This home has always been a refuge, and I believe it should remain that for young people who need it the most. Questions?
Commissioners, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Podium is open.
Good evening. My name is Jerry Opreach, and my wife Nancy and I live at 3149 Arizona Drive, and we've lived there since 1998. So a lot of the comments as a homeowner that's been already made, I would like to make, but I don't want to be redundant, so I'm going to just buttress a few of those points. But first of all, it's not the responsibility of the neighborhood nor the city of Bismarck to sell this home listed as a single-family residence. If the sellers want to sell the home for its listed price, then upgraded selling features need to be made to make it more competitive and attractive on the market. Either that or reduce the price to consummate the sale. Changing the zoning status of this single-family residence really only benefits the sellers and the listing agent. And I believe more likely than not, it reduces the appeal of the neighboring residents. And I empathize with Jason, who lives right next to it, that he's really concerned what's going to happen to the price of his home. And we put our most of our life into paying off mortgages of a home, which is our biggest item that we buy in life. And that's a big source of anxiety to have this come up as a potential possibility. Bismarck and Mandan are large enough cities that there are other properties available for grief counseling centers to occur. My neighbor, Mitch Barta, just mentioned several properties that are available for this. It does not need to be in this area, which we have gone over this evening regarding the issues of parking, traffic, and all of the other areas that were discussed. You know, no one has anything against Soul 57 in our neighborhood. It's a tremendous organization. We all support it, but it need not be in the area where they're requesting. And it is really an important part of our neighborhood, which has been long-standing as a single-family residence area, that it continue to be so. So with that, instead of going over other points that already have been made, I'll just see if you have any questions for me.
Commissioners, questions for Jerry? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kayleen Keitlinger. I live on Oregon Drive. I just kind of wanted to come up and talk a little bit about, we moved on to Oregon Drive just a couple years ago and why we picked that area. I was one of those people that it took me 2 years to find a house. And honestly, I wouldn't have picked that area if that house on the corner was operated as a business, because that's not the type of area I wanted to live by. Another thing that I have a concern about is, my child rides the bus, and that corner is where he gets picked up at. Well, what if there's all the parking is down there? The bus stop gets changed all the time. One time it's that corner, the next time, last year that's where he got picked up. The next year it can be a different corner. I mean, we have to think about that. The bus changes all the time, their stops. And it's zoned as a residential, and they can change that all the time and not to have a business there. And so I think we have to remember that this is a residential area, and we need to keep it a residential area. So, thank you.
Commissioners, any questions?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Kelsey Zotnick, and I'm here tonight as both the local real estate agent professional working for the common good of Soul 57 and also the executive director of Tracy Sanctuary House. We're a local nonprofit hospitality house that has served families experiencing medical crises for the past 20 years. Tracy Sanctuary House operates within a residential neighborhood, and throughout our 2 decades there, we have firsthand We have seen firsthand that supportive, mission-driven services can integrate successfully into residential areas. Our operations have remained respectful, low impact, and considerate of our families who live around us. Because of this, we've been able to serve thousands of people while maintaining positive relationships within our neighbors and preserving the character of the area. In my role as a realtor, I've also observed activity around Tracy Sanctuary House's neighborhood over the past year. There's been 3 homes on our block that have sold within the last 12 to 15 months, and all of them selling below the average days on market for Bismarck Mandan. While not offering statistical conclusions on this, I can say that from experience that having a supportive service in a residential setting has not prevented homes from selling quickly on our block. Based on my experience with supportive residential services in my work in real estate, I believe that Soul 57 offers a much needed resource for our community. Providing a home-like environment for grieving children is central to their mission, and this location helps them make that possible. Additionally, the property we are discussing is uniquely positioned at the entrance of 19th Street in Oregon. When we were searching for a property, we did take in consideration all of the downtown districts and areas, and we did work with the city of Bismarck doing that. Their mission is they want to have it in a home-like based service center, and within their budget, that is not available in a lot of these commercial places that you've discussed or we've discussed tonight. There's also a lot of homes in these areas that are zoned in the area that they could operate out of, but a lot of them have a lot of maintenance. A lot of them are in that 100-year category of homes around that central Bismarck area. In this area, there's also multiple apartments, commercial spaces, churches, daycares, facilities, in-home daycares adjacent to it, making this as a natural and appropriate fit for the neighborhood and context. I share this because I believe in the project being proposed today reflects a similar spirit of service like Tracy's Sanctuary House. Soul 57 aims to provide essential support to children and families navigating grief and the need to exist deeply within our community. The intention behind this project is rooted in healing, compassion, and creating a space for kids who experience profound loss. I respectfully request that you approve the rezoning request for Soul 57 so they continue to move forward in their mission to help children and families during some of the life's most difficult moments. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Commissioners, any questions for Kelsey? Commissioner Field.
Back to the original problem.
Mm-hmm.
This development was built years ago. And when these people bought their homes,
Mm-hmm.
they knew what the zoning was.
Yep.
And there's developments going up all over Bismarck that you could get a lot rezoned before it's even built.
Mm-hmm.
So then the people buying a house there know
Yep.
that this is going to be there. But we've turned down whole developments because they wanted to keep a spot for an apartment building,
Yep.
just because of commercial and residential. And that's where I think a lot of people have a problem is what you guys are trying to do is great. I don't think does anybody here not think they should find a place? So no, none of us are, we don't drown kittens for fun. So that's, you can tug at our heartstrings, but we have to think of the assets of these people. And if they all think they're going to lose money, this is right back to the chicken argument where if you say you can have chickens, you're the hero to 3 people. You say no, everybody else cheers. I really don't know where the road out of this is. But I would think if you went to a development and had it pre-zoned before the first house is built, no one's going to complain because they know what's there when they buy the lot.
I think it's the financial feasibility of the homes in the areas where she would like to have a homey environment is where there's a contradiction. Though a lot of these commercial areas are $1 million plus. And she is a nonprofit, Soul 57 is a nonprofit, and so that is where they're looking for what she needs in the area or what they want in the area that we are allowed to look at is difficult because of the price point, and then the homes that are in that area are very old and have to be kept up, and so there's also maintenance concern for longevity.
Any additional questions? Commissioner Zent.
I've never heard of this Soul 57 before. Where are they meeting right now?
They currently have a commercial space on Washington Street.
And that's not usable?
They've grown out of that space.
Okay.
And they would like a permanent. They're leasing currently.
Okay.
Any additional questions?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Kirk Blackwood. I am one of the owners with my wife Annie at 1901 Oregon. And yeah, we all know it seems like a great thing, so I'm not going to read some of the heartstring stuff. I just want to go on what's going on. So parking won't be an issue. We know that based on their history, based on, they have, basically it's very little footprint compared to, I would say if you didn't know it was a business, it would look like any other home. It's not going to be like, oh, there's a sign out and it's a business, but it's one house getting rezoned, not like a whole thing, right? So there's an apartment building across the street from us. Every person that's come to look at our house to buy it hasn't wanted it because there's an apartment complex across the street from us, and 19th Street's busy. And basically, it's such a perfect fit to have a home-like atmosphere, someone that could use this house. I do want to read this. They've looked at properties. Nothing fits the needs of their clients even close to what this property will offer them. This property has been used to raise our children. People have mentioned, my wife mentioned foster children, but it's perfect for kids. There's a lot of space, a basketball court, a hot tub, multiple family rooms, and from what I hear, a future garden as well. It's just such a unique house, and it's one lot, and it's across from an apartment complex. So it's a unique situation. It's not like, we're changing this city or we're, changing the... and as far as, like, values go, it's selling for close to $600,000. That's going to be good for the houses around that area if they want to sell their house in the future. So... that's any
Commissioners,
questions?
any questions? Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. Again, I just want to address something. They talked about it's not within their budget or anything like that. I'm pretty sure everybody here is probably in the same boat I am. When I wanted something and I couldn't afford it, what'd I do? I saved, and I saved some more until I could go out and buy what I wanted. I've done it with 3 different houses in my lifetime. I've done it with multiple vehicles in my lifetime. I've done it with other purchases in my lifetime. These folks, if they want something, they can go, like that gentleman said, go to an area that's being built up, have that rezoned so people that get in there know what they want. Because I'm telling you guys again, if that place would have been what they're wanting to turn it into, I would have not bought in that neighborhood at all. And I spent almost $500,000, guys. That's a lot of money. So I guess my question is, if this does go through, which one of you guys want to buy my house? That's all.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Schmitz and Commissioners. Thanks for considering this rezoning request here on 1901 Oregon Drive. It's been a long night for everybody, and I wanted to stand up and just say that I'm a real estate professional. I've been doing this for 15 years. We did show Soul 57 a lot of properties in commercial districts. It is true, it is a budgetary issue, and why we are initially navigating toward this property was a budgetary issue, okay? But when we looked at it and we realized that what we need is an RT or conditional RT zoning. We look across the street, we see the apartments, we look down southwest, we see the churches and the commercial districts. We see a house sitting on the corner between, again, apartments and commercial leading into residential is defined as RT. So in my professional experience, it's the perfect opportunity for an RT property. We met with the city. Thank you, city staff, for being so fantastic at executing process. Can't say enough good about everything that you've done here, both for Soul 57 and for the public to put this process together. So having said that, I think reality is that this is a perfect location for a non-overnight social working operation, an RT zoning. The property that Kirk and Annie Blackwood are trying to sell is already suffering in value because of its RT-like status. We have busy 19th Street, we have apartments with crimes, we have registered sex offenders living just south a block in other rentals, which, by the way, is the biggest downfall to residential property values, is having that. Okay, so we already have these things. A lot of neighborhoods have these things. We have an expansion of commercial going on just up Oregon, as somebody else in the crowd just mentioned. I don't know what all that is, but there's a lot of things going on here that are going to affect people's property values, and that's sad. We don't want to make it worse. Soul 57 isn't here to hurt anybody. We don't want to make it worse. But as a professional, I thought we saw an opportunity that might work. Clearly, the public has voiced their concerns. I also want to say that Kirk and Annie Blackwood's property has been on the market for 198 days, and this is a beautiful property. It doesn't need any updates. It doesn't need any maintenance. We inspected the house. It's a great property. I sell a lot of real estate. This thing should have been sold a long time ago, and it should have sold for $160, $180 per square foot. I mean, that's the reasonable value for a beautiful ranch-style home like this. It's suffering because of Oregon Drive, because of the apartments, and because of the commercial in the area. $140 a foot, I think, is what we're buying the property for after 198 days. So, the house was built in 2006. Well, so what, Hunt? Maybe all properties built in 2006 are on the market for 198 days. Well, no, they're not. According to the MLS this morning, I just did a search. I found 12 great comps. I have my son Lucas with me. He's my co-agent, and we were blown away. Houses built between 2000 and 2008, ranch-style houses. In the last 12 months, there was 12 or 13 sold. Average days on market, 7.7 days. Even I was surprised, and that was at like $180 a foot. And again, there's nothing wrong with this house. It's just sitting in an RT district. So that's the way I see this. There's been comments about whether these people can afford to maintain this property. Can I share how we're purchasing the property, Jenny? Soul 57 received a short-term gift to allow them, from family, to allow them to purchase the property. So we were in certain restraints as far as price point, and if we don't use it and make this dream happen for Jenny right now, it's not going to happen. So that's how the money came. It was a great gift. It's fantastic. Those people, I've spoken to them about offering additional funding to help maintain the property. They're all in, and it's family of Jenny's. It's not people that are going to desert her. So we're not really worried about that. Otherwise, it's not an overnight recovery center to degrade property values. It will bring in more traffic. I do recognize that. And, the parking, the deal with Evangel Temple, helped orchestrate that. Great people. The board at Evangel Temple was great to us, and they're more than willing to extend that to, I don't know how many years, 100 years if we need to, on that lease for the parking. So that should be just fine. So, yeah, I guess in the end, I just hope you guys will decide to support the zoning change. And you've heard from the public. You've got great input tonight, and all the best in your decision. And thank you for all you do.
Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Field.
As far as, you say there's budgetary limits, and it's surprising how many entities around Bismarck don't realize that every outfit that has electronic gaming has to give money to charity. It's mandatory. The Attorney General makes them do it. So as far as her needing maintenance money, she could talk to the elk, she could talk to the moose, she could talk to the eagles, she could talk to the AMVETS. All of them have a fund. I mean, at the AMVETS, we give money to the Boy Scouts, Girl
Right.
Scouts.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes on and on. So really, there is funding mechanisms that aren't tied to a personal pocket. You know, just like this Friday at the AMVETS, everybody can go there and have a turkey dinner for free. It's open
Right.
to the public. So, I mean, there are ways that, you know, if she needed to raise more money for a specific property, she could by going to these organizations.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, I appreciate that. I'm certain that she could, but this is where we're at right now, and we're just trying to make it happen. So thank you so much. Any other questions?
Commissioner Schell?
Could you just announce your name for the public and sign?
I didn't?
I don't think you did.
Oh, Hunt Bausted, Trademark Realty.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Gabe.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Good evening. Dear Commissioners, I'm speaking in my capacity as the Program Director for Soul 57. We are seeking a rezoning approval which would allow us to operate a small, community-based grief support organization in a house currently zoned as a residential. I want to directly address the concerns raised by some neighbors who fear our presence will introduce negativity or create disruptions in the neighborhood and diminish property values. These concerns, while understandable, stem from a misunderstanding of who we serve and how we operate. First, the children and families who come to us are not delinquent, troubled, or problematic. They are children experiencing one of the most universal human experiences, loss. Every one of us, including each member of this commission, will one day face grief personally or within your families. The services we offer may one day be highly relevant to you, your neighbors, your coworkers, or your own children. Grief does not discriminate, and our services simply provide these families with a place to feel less alone in an already isolating time. Second, the nature of our programming is calm, structured, and intentionally small scale. Sessions typically involve therapeutic play, art activities, conversation circles, and evidence-based emotional support activities led by a licensed mental health professional. We do not host large gatherings, loud events, or drop-in services. Peer grief support organizations tend to make neighborhoods quieter and more stable, not less, because families leave feeling supported, grounded, and connected. Our operational details support studies and long-term observations that consistently show well-managed nonprofit services of this nature do not introduce negative environmental or aesthetic impacts and do not diminish property values. Many communities actually benefit from the increased sense of care and stability such organizations bring. Third, research consistently shows community grief support reduces long-term social strain. When children do not have access to grief resources, they face significantly higher risks for academic decline, behavioral challenges, depression, and isolation. When they do receive support, they are more resilient, more engaged, and better to form healthy relationships. In other words, providing grief services benefits not only the individual families, but the well-being of the entire community, including the very neighbors who have expressed apprehension. 1901 Oregon Avenue offers something difficult to replicate elsewhere: a warm, spacious, residential, non-clinical environment where youth can feel safe, where families do not feel stigmatized for seeking help. Commercial properties cannot offer the same sense of belonging or comfort. This house is not meant to be a treatment facility, rather it is meant to be a home-like healing space, one that blends into the neighborhood and strengthens it. As you consider the compassionate impact this small zoning change will make, please know Soul 57 deeply respects the concerns of residents and are committed to being responsible neighbors and community members. This is not simply a zoning decision, rather it is an investment in the emotional health and future of our families, and it is an immediate opportunity to ensure grieving youth in our community have a place where they can connect, communicate, and navigate through their grief journey with peers. Grief is not a fringe issue. It touches every culture, every neighborhood, and every family. Allowing this rezoning is an opportunity for our city to affirm that no child should have to navigate. Before I move on, I'd like to address just a couple other things. Some of the things that mentioned, why does Soul 57 need the space that is in this home? The space is very large. We need space because we do healthy activities. We want youth to be introduced to healthy activities rather than sex, drugs, alcohol, gambling, things that are unhealthy and will lead to a negative trajectory for their lives. We introduce them to cooking and doing yoga and art and things like that that are healthy opportunities for them. So we need space to be able to do those things. We need storage to be able to store our activities and materials for that. I need an office so that when I am planning activities, I'm not just doing things like that in my car where a lot of my current materials sit as I pack bags from here to there. Our current space we have outgrown. We would welcome you to our current office to see our setup. Welcome you any day. My office is stacked high, but we make it work, but it's barely working. Location, we researched, as previously mentioned, we did research, but due to cost was sometimes a problem. Size was also sometimes an issue. It wasn't sized appropriately, whether it be offices or didn't have a large enough space for yoga, or the location in town wasn't appropriate, because we do want to be somewhat centralized. So being on 19th is somewhat good for us because it is one of those busier streets. While some people say it might be problematic, it can be helpful for us. Because we don't want to be out in one of these residential areas that is really way out far, making it difficult for our clients to be able to come to. Transportation is often a barrier for families, and so we want to ease that burden. Also, the noise at some of the commercial properties that we looked at, that was sometimes an issue as far as if we're doing grief services, peer grief services, and we hear bang, 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 and drums and guitars and things like that, that's also not going to be very calming for youth. Some places didn't have parking, and so we did consider all of these options. We were not negligent as we were researching. Churches was also brought up here in this evening, and churches, while that's really a great option, and some folks utilize that for grief services, many folks don't like that, just because maybe they're angry due to the religious affiliation that they're experiencing during grief. Some don't mind, others do. And so as Soul 57, we are a secular organization, so we want to maintain, again, that just healthy home, safe atmosphere. If you did not know that Soul 57 was in your neighborhood, if we did not come to this table and to this podium and to this space and to the zoning committee and to this commission, you would not know we were in your neighborhood. We would look similarly to my family. My family of 4. I have 4 kids and a husband, and we come home, and sometimes there's friends over and people, the kids, and they come home, and the neighbors' kids come over, and there's snacks and people, and there might be a few extra cars in the driveway here and there, and people come and go because there's multiple kid activities and kids in sports. And so crossing 19th, that's like going to hockey practice 4 times, taking each kid to hockey practice and going back and forth. Those are things normal families do. It's just that these families happen to be going to a grief peer support group. This home will look just like any other home. We will make sure that we maintain the space because not only do we take pride in our organization, we take pride in the space on the inside and the outside. It's not a matter of just decorating and making it feel good with pretty pictures on the wall. It's about just making the space both emotionally comfortable as well. I welcome any questions.
Can we get your name first?
Christina Dirk.
Christina.
Christina with a K.
Okay. Any questions, commissioners? Commissioner Field.
So how many activities per year are you guys projecting?
So we currently have groups on Thursday nights. On Thursday nights, we alternate one evening. It's our K through 5 group. The next Thursday, it's 6 through 12. And so currently the group is set up for, they come in from 5:30, and then they're from 5:30 to 7:30. Did I get that right? Yes. 5:30 to 7, excuse me. And so very minimal time. And then afterwards, the licensed professionals, we have a debrief time to make sure that we're appropriately serving these youth. Again, it's grieving children. It's not addiction services. It's not working on other mental health we're not going into the deep depths of individual mental health counseling. We do have workshops sometimes once a month where we have utilized the community, where we've gone to like a place that has a basketball court or utilized Arts for All. Sargiana was up here earlier. We, rather than going to another space, we would be able to have our own space and utilize that. That also helps us to be cost effective and friendly.
Did you read the proposed restrictions?
I have read them, and I think, unless something has changed, I think that everything was appropriate, and we would be happy to abide by anything.
Well, that's what I was asking, because it says visits from clients or patients are limited to no more than 12 individuals at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Then it goes on to say, notwithstanding, multiple clients or patients may be present on the property during not more than 4 events per year, with each event not exceeding 4 days.
I
That
think
doesn't spell out to doing every week.
these are, I think there might be a discrepancy on what we identify as an event versus what is considered regular services. These are services. This isn't an event as in a party, a gathering, let's invite the whole town or half the town or anything of that nature. This is regular services that we provide.
Lauren or Daniel, care to provide anything additional?
That's where residential hits the blind side.
Thank you, Vice Chair, Commissioners. So that language in there, not the 12 individuals, but the notwithstanding multiple clients or patients may be present, that mirrors exactly what we have in our home occupation ordinance. What it means is that if there is, for say, a larger event related to that specific use, that would go beyond those 12 individuals at a time. That would provide that opportunity there to host that. And there is that limitation on the days, the types of days not to occur consecutively. The 12 individuals was placed in there. It's slightly different than what we have in our home occupation ordinance. I believe that is 4 individuals. The 12 individuals was based on the identified number of patients or clients that would be coming on those group nights specifically. That's why that 12 individual number was placed in there through discussions with the applicant.
So isn't every meeting, though, an event?
Based on how this is written in the intent, both with this ordinance and the home occupation ordinance, that would not be what that would mean.
I would respectfully just say that I think, if we called that an event, that would be inviting your friends over inviting your friends over to have supper. That could be considered an event. And that's...
Any additional questions, Commissioner Schell?
It's maybe a follow-up for Lauren in the number of individuals at any time when it says 12, but it's in the section of the visitors and clients. So is that the total number of people that can be there, or is that just the number of clients that can be there and there could be a number of staff members in addition to the client expectation?
Great question, Commissioner Schell, Vice Chair and Commissioners. So it would just be 12 clients or patients, so you could have a couple additional staff to help support that service.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional, Commissioner Zent?
Christine, is anybody going to be living in this house? Or
Absolutely not.
you're not moving your family into it?
No.
Okay, thank you.
It's a beautiful house, but absolutely not.
Commissioners, any other questions? Thank you.
If I could just follow up with that, with the last thing, Lauren, I can't see that far. My eyes don't work. Just to say that with the 12, we actually don't want it to be really bigger than 12 either, because we want to ensure that our groups, that these peer groups are small. It just maintains that cohesiveness and communication and peers, that safety, comfort, and support. So we don't want to have groups that are larger than 12. So again, to just to reiterate the smallness of this group. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Shell might have one more for you.
Maybe one more follow-up, just so I can better understand. That 12, is that usually like 12 clients that are dropped off to be there, or is it, 6 clients and 6 parents that are there, and that is the component of the 12? Like, maybe just elaborate on how your 12 usually works.
The majority of the time, what we've seen is it is caregivers dropping off the youth. And then they come in and they meet with me, and I'm working with me or another licensed professional is meeting with the youth. At the very end, the caregiver might come in and meet with Jenny or one of us licensed professionals just to like do kind of a deep 5-minute debrief to say like, is there anything I should be aware of, something like that. But it's not everybody is in there all at the same point in time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Podium is open for anyone else caring to address this item.
My name is Rita Landsberger, and I live at 3156 Arizona Drive since 1987. And as we hear more and more and more about the organization, who's going to be there, who's not going to be there, and all of that, I think it takes away from the issue of the fact that I moved into this area as a residential area. It was zoned as a residential area. The fact that a certain residence is having a struggle selling their residence, to me, does not give the proper impetus for changing the zoning. I mean, that residence was bought knowing its location, knowing what was across the street, knowing everything else about where they were moving into. I'm not happy that they're struggling to sell their unit. However, I don't believe changing the zoning is the proper way to get that done. And I believe that if the organization that wants that house has the money that it has, they could build the house to fit their needs. That would be exactly appropriate for what they want in an area where it is properly zoned. So I am adamantly opposed to changing the zoning in this area. Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Laura Steffen. I'm actually here to read a letter on behalf of a member of the community, and I apologize that it is redundant to a lot of things we've heard today, but I thought it was important to read because it is a homeowner within this community, and I don't think we've heard a lot from, that side, so. Okay, so I am reading this on behalf of Brenda and Len Wall, who are unable to attend tonight due to travel plans made earlier this year. And they reside on Nevada Street, less than 1 block from 1901 Oregon Drive. So we are writing to share our strong and heartfelt support for the proposed rezoning of 1901 Oregon Drive. This home belongs to dear friends of ours, people whose hearts are dedicated to helping families through one of life's most difficult experiences, grief. We have seen their deep commitment to helping families heal after loss. Grieving children and parents often need a setting that feels warm, safe, and familiar, a place where they can share, process, and begin to rebuild. A home environment provides that sense of comfort and connection far more effectively than a commercial or clinical space ever could. As parents and neighbors, we know how important it is for children to feel safe and understood when they're hurting. When a child loses someone they love, the world can suddenly feel unfamiliar and heavy. A home environment, somewhere warm, comforting, and welcoming can make all the difference, and that's where healing begins. This rezoning isn't about bringing a business into the neighborhood. It's about keeping compassion in our community. It's about using a home that already radiates love, care, and safety to provide a space for families who desperately need that sense of belonging again. We've seen firsthand how much it matters when people are given a space to grieve, connect, and rebuild. By approving this rezoning, you're not just allowing meetings to happen, you're allowing healing to happen. This proposed use aligns with values of community, compassion, and care that define Bismarck. It would bring in an important resource to families navigating loss while maintaining the quiet, respectful character of the neighborhood. Approving this rezoning is not simply a procedural matter, it's an opportunity to allow meaningful healing to take place in a setting that truly feels like home. We respectfully ask you to approve this request and to support what we truly believe is a beautiful and meaningful use of a home in our city. Thank you for your time and for considering the very real human impact of this decision.
Commissioners, any questions for Laura?
If I could add on a personal, I was
Yeah,
reading on their
absolutely.
behalf, of course, but as a friend, to the Blackwoods, they mentioned their children, all of whom became teenagers at the same time, and all had cars. Mom had a car, dad had a car, all the kids had cars. There's always been a lot of traffic. They're friends over, and I guess, it's all been said, but I don't believe that the comings and goings of these children would be much different in parking and, movement than it was to have all those teenagers coming and going at the same time and parking on the street and everything they had to do to make that work. Just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you. Podium is open for anyone else wishing to address this item.
Just like to see a show of hands. Who's going to profit from this? Raise your hand, you're profiting. 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 Let's go the opposite way. Show of hands.
All
Who
right,
doesn't
wait,
want this?
Hold
because
on,
they feel
hold
it's
on.
not
This
gonna
is
work?
not public comment. All right, this is.
Exactly public comment.
Okay. Do you have any additional comments for the commission? Any additional public comment?
Brian Wanner. So my wife and I live on Arizona Drive. So we've lived there now for 15 years. We actually did our homework when we moved to Arizona Drive. So we had a prior house on Calgary Avenue. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that now. Lived over by Menards. Loved the house we were in. We were told when we moved in it was a closed street. I don't know how many of you remember that over by Menards. We were told, yeah, it's probably not going to open. We did not do our homework. It opened, and we had young kids. It became very busy. So that was the reason we moved. And I totally get having a hard time selling your home because we had to sell our home at a discount because the street opened. So we did our homework here. We knew those apartments were there. We knew 19th was busy. We knew Century was busy, but we loved the neighborhood because it was quiet. We also had our realtor check. Anyway, any roads could come in. How's this zoned? It was residential. They said nothing can come in. So we bought with the premise that, hey, this is all going to be residential. I totally get what they are trying to do. My oldest daughter is in grad school for clinical mental health counseling. There is a need for it. I don't think anybody in our neighborhood you'd have 100% support for the need. But I sat here and I went, I don't know how many times I heard the word center, business, clients. We're in a neighborhood. Those words shouldn't come up in a residential neighborhood. So, like I said, there's 100% support for what they're doing. And we all knew, every homeowner within the last probably 25 years, 30 years, are built there, bought or built under that premise that this was going to be residential. And anybody that did buy knew some of the things there too. Like I said, 19th didn't just all of a sudden become busy 6 months ago. Those apartments were there, I'm gonna guess, probably before the homes were built. We all knew that when we built. So, and I guess I would just pose a simple question to the commissioners or anybody else here. Would you honestly, you're in your neighborhood, would you want a business coming into your neighborhood? Or if you were gonna sell your house and you went and approached your neighbors and said, hey, I think we're gonna do this, I'm gonna guess your neighbors aren't gonna be real thrilled with you. So, and I think, like I said, the neighborhood is not against what they're doing. It's a great cause. Like I said, my daughter is going into this. There's a huge need for it. And we all, I mean, sympathize with the kids and everybody that needs that, but it doesn't change the fact that house was built for a single-family residence, for a family to come in. And I don't know if any of you guys have been up there, driven. There is a distinct, yes, there's apartments, there's a church, but that street really does cut off those things from our neighborhood. If you go drive around, the neighborhood is the neighborhood. There is no, I mean, if you go drive up there, you'll see it is a neighborhood. It is quiet. It is, people there love it. The homes do sell quickly. I mean, we've had people tell us that if you put your home for sale, let us know. But, I mean, that's all I just want to reiterate is that we did do our homework here when we moved in because we didn't on a prior house. And, I mean, it's a residential neighborhood. It is not a business. It is not for a meeting center. And I don't think anybody here would probably want that in their neighborhood. Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions for Brian?
Thank you.
Podium is open for anyone else wishing to address this item. Okay, last call for public comment. Okay, I'll close the public comment for this agenda item. Lauren, any additional comments from staff?
Vice Chair and Commissioners, I do have one clarification. I think there was a comment at the very beginning, you know, what would happen if the use changed from this youth and young adult group grief therapy support service. It would not go back to R5. I just want to clarify that. The conditional RT would stay the same if the commission would approve this. However, the items contained, the conditions placed within the conditional RT is very, very similar to the R5, if not more restrictive in a lot of sense. I just wanted to clarify that.
All right, thank you. Recommendation from staff is to approve. What are the wishes of the commission?
Maybe before we get to that, I think I'd just like to go back to the slide deck, but one slide further to the next slide. Okay, so for all of us to consider and all of us to know, we have certain rights in our property. Now, the difference here, which is the struggle I have, is this is not a residence that has got an in-home business. It's actually a building being converted to a business under this zoning. But technically, every one of us who lives in a neighborhood very well probably has a business being run out of their house. I can tell you I live down in a place that's got some homes that are probably over $1 million in value, and there are businesses being run out of those homes. One of them is there's construction stuff sitting on the street every day when I drive by it. So I get the concern of the neighborhood. I am struggling with the conversion from a resident R5 to an RT that then is going to be purely a business and nobody's residing there. I think that's the struggle I have. But I want everybody to understand, like, you can have a business running in your neighborhood and you won't even know it. I think it's very, very important for everybody to understand that. So I appreciate the comments, but like, I have very expensive homes, more than I can afford in my area, that are running a construction company out of their home. So,
thank you, Mayor Schmitz. A motion or a recommendation from staff is to approve. What are the wishes of the commission?
I would move to approve as presented.
So we got a motion to approve as presented from Commissioner Schell. Is there a second?
I'll second so we have discussion.
Okay. Second from Mayor Schmitz. Any discussion, commissioners? Commissioner Schell.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I guess when I would look at this, I mean, the concept of a home occupation that could have someone running, multiple employees potentially out of that facility, having a job trailer or 2 trailers actually allowed. They'd have to move them every 48 hours. You have to move them, but you could operate a business, a carpentry business out of a home. You could run a daycare that has 12 kids in it that is going to create more traffic impacts in terms of numbers of vehicles showing up and then leaving, or maybe even the same or similar impacts of what you'd see here. Without really coming to talk to us. So those are just by right that those sort of businesses can operate out of their home. So I made the motion to approve because I really see this as being very similar to the impacts associated with many of the home occupations that we have. A vacant property would likely be more of an eyesore in terms of the grass being mowed than someone occupying it, whether it's someone living there full-time or a business operating out of it. RT, I want to stress also, is a residential zoning. There are a lot of uses that are allowed in RT. Sometimes it's an apartment building, sometimes it's an office building, and it's really up to the market and the buyers and the sellers to figure out what that is. But there's RT within, buttressing and connecting to many of the R5 and R10 zoned houses in this neighborhood already. So I don't see it being a drastic change to have another corner of RT, especially one that's conditionally used or conditioned that it can only be a youth grief center. That's the only thing it can ever be without another zoning change. So I feel like the limit or the risk of something being drastically terrible to the neighborhood is very, very, very small. And so that's why I guess my motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Shell. Any additional discussion, Commissioner Schmitz?
Maybe more it's a comment or a question. So I realize that it's zoned and it can only be, it's got the restriction on it. If this passes RT in, it can only be used for those very limited, as a home or as youth grief services, basically. Could we have it be reverted if this business is no longer operating it, that it would automatically revert to R5? I don't know if that's even possible.
Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, I could address it. And I think Lauren maybe was referring to this as well. So there isn't really anything in our ordinance that does that specifically. However, the conditional zoning district that is presented here was written with that in mind because it is constrained, as Gabe said, so specifically to a youth and grief support counseling or a single-family home. Because it's basically mirrors the R5 zoning district in every way except for this one little narrow carve out. And so if they were to sell it, really, unless there's another youth grief support center out there, it would be a single family home.
Okay. Thank you, Daniel. Any other discussion? Okay. Seeing none, Sarah, would you please call the roll? And probably clarify what a yes and a no means on this one. So yes would be approval. Yes, okay.
Okay. Commissioner Schmitz.
I see the value both ways. I'm going to vote yes because the restriction is, it basically is a house if it's not this.
Commissioner Field.
No.
Commissioner Shell.
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner.
No.
Commissioner Zent.
No.
And Vice Chair Johnson.
No. So the motion is not approved. So I'm going to claim vice chair on this and don't know what is this done or do we have to? Okay, it's motion's denied. All right, wasn't sure if we had to vote to deny. Okay, motion is denied. Moving on to item 4B on our regular agenda. That is rural accessory structure size. And this is a zoning ordinance text amendment. And Isaac has the report for us.
Yes, good evening, Vice Chair Johnson and Commissioners. For this next regular agenda item, the Planning Department requests approval of a zoning ordinance text amendment to revise and update the city's ordinances regarding total accessory structure size in rural areas to more closely align with Burleigh County's ordinances in their equivalent sections of the zoning ordinance. So for the city, this would mean it would be amending sections 140306, which touches on among other things, rural accessory structure size and location and things like that. And then also sections 140401, 140401.1, and 140417, which gets into sort of repeating some of what is in 140306, but going into the specific districts that would be impacted by this. So as you likely know, the City Commission and Burleigh County Commission have agreed upon a new ETA map and are in the process of finalizing some of those details. And during the course of those discussions, one topic that came up and has come up before then as well is this topic of rural accessory structure building sizes. So on October 14th of this year, planning staff received direction from the Board of City Commissioners to amend the city zoning ordinances of Title 14 on this topic to align with the equivalent sections of the Burleigh County's zoning ordinance. So as you can see on the screen here, this is mostly to do two things. Aligning those rural accessory structure size, that is the larger portion of this, but then the second thing that is done here is it is also removing one reference to a wall height limit in the A agricultural zoning district to clarify a previously approved zoning ordinance text amendment, which removed the wall height limit for all residential accessory structures, urban or rural, but there was one reference to the A agricultural district that was missed. So this is removing that one reference to clarify that section as well. And so the main change being that the aligning of the size ordinance would involve moving the city's accessory structure size away from the current way of how we do it. If we could go to the next slide, please. So we're moving away from kind of a tiered categorization of set values, which are based on the parcel size, with sometimes the option to increase the size of accessory structures if an approved special use permit is received from the Planning and Zoning Commission. And it would instead move to match the county's regulation of size being tied to 4% of the parcel size, regardless of what that size is. So as you can see here, the first column there is getting at where these categories are in the city's ordinance right now, and then getting into what their allowed accessory structure size would be based off of whether or not they have a special use permit, and then finally that proposal of matching what the current county ordinance is of 4% of the lot. So if we go to the next slide, this is graphically showing what this would look like. And this was included in your packets as well. That gray diagonal line is the 4% of lot size. That is what the county currently has. This is what we are proposing to move towards. And then the blue line is the city's ordinance right now without a special use permit. And then the orange line is with a special use permit. I will note that, as you can see here, there are times in which the city's regulation would be less restrictive than the county's regulation, particularly in some cases if a special use permit is approved. So staff has done an initial analysis of approved special use permits, and I will update the figures that were provided in the staff report. Staff redid the analysis to double check things, and the correct values, as far as we are aware at this time, is that since 2014, the Planning and Zoning Commission has approved 56 special use permits in the RR residential zoning district and 5 special use permits in the A agricultural zoning districts. And of those, 11 would be considered legally non-conforming in this proposed change, meaning that for 11 of these properties, 4% of their lot area would be smaller than one of those areas where the orange line is higher than the gray line in this case. Staff included what was provided in the staff reports to you. Staff sent that to county staff for any initial questions or discussions. We will send them the updated numbers and have conversations with them as well. But these would be legally non-conforming regardless of if they would stay within the city's jurisdiction of the ETA or if they would go back to the county's jurisdiction. But we did want to make sure everyone was aware of that. So this request, of course, was considered by you at your October 22nd meeting, where you called for the public hearing. And then the public was duly notified of this request via publications in the Bismarck Tribune on November 7th and 14th of this year. And to my knowledge, staff has not received any formal comments from the public regarding this topic. But as a cumulative result of all findings contained in this staff reports before you, City of Bismarck staff find that the proposed zoning ordinance text amendment would not adversely impact public health, safety, and general welfare, that it is generally consistent with the comprehensive plan, Bismarck Code of Ordinances, and relevant state law. And therefore, staff recommends approval of the zoning ordinance text amendments to revise and update the ordinances regarding total accessory structure size in rural areas to more closely align with Burleigh County's current ordinance. Does the commission have any questions for me at this time?
Commissioners, any questions for Isaac? Commissioner Shell?
Isaac, you had noted some potential non-conforming, or not, I guess, potential non-conforming if this ordinance passes, regardless of if the property's in the ETA or isn't in the ETA, or whatever that could look like. So my question for you is, what happens to a non-conforming property, both in our City of Bismarck ETA processes as well as in Burleigh County's processes if this change occurs?
Sure. Commissioner Shell, Vice Chair Johnson, Commissioners, while I can't speak for the county's processes specifically, for the city's process, if something is legally non-conforming, it is perfectly acceptable for it to remain as is. You know, we do not force people to change things or go out into the world looking for things that might be non-conforming. The question would arise more so if something were to happen to that property, and then the question is, well, could I remake this if it is, destroyed by a fire or something like that. And as far as a single family home is concerned, legal nonconformities are permitted to be recreated so long as they are not expanded or increased in such a way. So it would follow a similar process with this, but I would have to double check some of the specifics to see if that allowance for the primary structure applies to the secondary structure or accessory structures as well.
Commissioner Bittner, would you know by chance how this change would affect or the non-conforming parcels or properties would fall into Burleigh County processes? Could you elaborate on that if possible?
Yeah, sure could. Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to do that. My opinion, and of course we haven't had a chance to have official meetings and whatnot on it yet, but at this point, my opinion is that we don't want there to be any negative changes to the citizens because of this. If anything, this would be an improvement for the citizens. So an existing non-conforming use causes me no issues personally, and I would be supportive of that. I was aware of this this kind of a saw blade line when I first saw it in the packet, and I mentioned that to one of the other commissioners, that one of my concerns is I didn't know that there was a part of the graph where the city had a larger square footage amount, but I would also like to see the county maintain that. We've had some conversations about the city having, different zoning districts that the county doesn't actually have under their ordinances. And at this point, the conversations that I've had has been to maintain the status quo so that nobody goes backwards. Whatever they bought into to begin with is what things are going to remain. Does that answer your question sufficiently?
Yep, just want to make sure that we aren't creating a burden on anyone by passing this ordinance or considering passing this ordinance.
Right. No, if anything, I think we need to look at in this case, we'd want the county to align more with what is being considered here as a non-conforming use. I don't think that a switch in this ETA thing could cause somebody to be non-conforming, because with the question about a fire or anything, that's a real deal, where if you have a non-conforming use and it burns, that part is a question. And we want people to be confident in their property and their valuations and all that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Bittner.
Any additional questions for Isaac? Okay. Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you.
I'll open up the public hearing on this agenda item. Does anyone wish to address the commission this evening? No? Yeah. All right, I'll close the public hearing. Isaac, anything else?
Vice Chair Johnson, there is actually one item I would like to say that I did not mention up there, or at least not clearly. This would also remove the special use permit from any, or at least there would be no more requirement for a special use permit in any of these categories. So there would be no more requests for increasing the size of structures for if this is approved as presented.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Commissioner, we got some antsy people here. Motion to approve from Commissioner Bittner and a second from, I heard Zent first, Commissioner Zent. Any discussions, Commissioners? Okay, Sarah, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Field,
Yes.
Commissioner Bittner,
Yes.
Commissioner Shell,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Zent.
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson.
Yes, the motion is approved. Moving on to item 4C on our agenda. Boutros, second edition, block 1, part of lots 1 and 2. This is a special use permit, and Lauren has the report for us.
Good evening again, Vice Chair Johnson and Commissioners. Cold Brew LLC, with consent from the current owners, the Boutros Group LLP and Ted J. Boutros LLC, is requesting approval of a special use permit for a drive-through in conjunction with a coffee shop on lots 1 through 2, Block 1, Boutros 2nd Edition, less part of lots 1 and 2, Block 1, Boutros 2nd Edition, and part of the northwest quarter of Section 27, Township 139 North, Range 80 West, Hay Creek Township. The project area, as you can see on the screen here, is located in central Bismarck, north of Interstate 94 in the northeast quadrant of the intersection of State Street and East Interstate Avenue. The property is currently zoned CG Commercial. A drive-through is permitted as a special use in the CG Commercial zoning district with approval by this commission. The property has been identified as destination mixed use in the future land use plan. The project location is surrounded by a mix of commercial uses, including retail stores and restaurants, as well as a cemetery to the north. Notice was published in the Bismarck Tribune on November 7th and 14th, and 12 postcards were mailed to the owners of nearby properties on November 7th. A physical sign also providing information on the public hearing was placed in a publicly accessible spot at the project location on November 4th. To my knowledge, staff has not received any public comments regarding this request. The request was evaluated according to standards contained within the comprehensive plan, code of ordinances, and relevant state law. Based on the site exhibit submitted and included within your packet, the requirements for a drive-through in conjunction with a coffee shop would be met. The drive-through requires 10 stacking spaces, which are provided on the site. I believe there's way more than 10 stacking spaces there. Access for the site is provided via an existing parking lot. The applicant has noted that only drinks will be served for the coffee shop. No food would be. Any mechanical equipment or waste collection areas for the site, you can see a cooler there. Any of those would follow screening requirements as noted within the ordinance. As a result of all findings contained in the staff report, City of Bismarck staff find that the proposed special use permit would not adversely impact the public health, safety, and general welfare, and is consistent with the comprehensive plan, code of ordinances, and state law. Therefore, staff recommends approval of a special use permit for a drive-through in conjunction with a coffee shop on lots 1 through 2, Block 1, Boutros 2nd Edition, less part of lots 1 and 2, Block 1, Boutros 2nd Edition, and part of the northwest quarter of Section 27, Township 139 North, Range 80 West, Hay Creek Township. Do you have any questions for me?
Commissioners, any questions for Lauren? Commissioner Shell.
Lauren, can you maybe describe the ordering process? I didn't see an order board on this particular site exhibit.
Great question, Commissioner Shell. Could I get the site exhibit up? So as you can see, there's 2 lanes here. It would function very similar to how Chick-fil-A does their ordering. So there would be somebody outside helping to take orders, or taking the orders to the people to the south of the area as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Bittner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You mentioned no food, and I don't frequent these places, but my wife does, and oftentimes she'll come home with a, I don't know, what is it, a bagel or something that's, is there a restriction on food, or you just mentioned that they're not going to have food?
Great question, Commissioner Bittner, Vice Chair Commissioners. So there's no restriction on it. It's just to provide you some more information that the applicants provided. I don't know what else to say beyond that. So.
Okay, no, that gives me comfort, because I know my wife likes to do that, and I imagine a lot of people do. So I was just making sure it wasn't a limitation. That's all. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Okay, thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing, so I'll open up the public hearing. Is the requester online? Okay, great.
I am online on via Teams.
Great, go ahead.
Matthew Gilbert here with MDC. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, board. So we are proposing a drive-through only coffee shop. Lauren was correct. We do not serve food. We're just so good at coffee that we don't want to take time and away from what we do well. So we're proposing this drive-through coffee shop going in between the McDonald's and the Arby's there. If you look at the existing parking lot, it's in the old abandoned Kmart. And so we're really looking for an opportunity here to not just serve the city of Bismarck, but also kind of improve what that site looks like instead of being an old dilapidated parking lot. Bringing in some landscaping, adding some more green space, just kind of helping that overall, big sea of concrete for that development. We've met with the city staff, we've met with our engineers, went through everything here, and we feel very excited and comfortable that this will be a great location for our drive-through only coffee shop. As Lauren mentioned, we're utilizing existing access, so we're not requesting additional street cuts to the public highway, so that's not going to interfere with existing traffic patterns. All of our stacking will be contained internally on site, and then the parking that we need for this location is also provided on site. So we're excited about this use, and we ask for your permission and approval of this SUP.
Commissioners, any questions from Matthew? Commissioner Zent.
Say, Matthew, this is Commissioner Zent. You're going to have hot brew too, not just cold brew coffee, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Our coffee drinks, they have many different flavors and many different temperatures. It's kind of like, Sonic's 3,000 drink mixtures that you can come up with. It'll be hot and cold drinks. Yes, sir.
Great.
Any additional questions? All right, thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
The podium is open for anyone else. Okay, I'll close the public hearing. And Lauren, any additional comments?
No additional comments at this time. Thank you.
Motion, or the staff recommends approval. What are the wishes of the commission?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Bittner.
I'd second it.
Second from Commissioner Field. Any discussion, commissioners? All right, Sarah, please call the roll.
Commissioner Bittner,
Yes.
Commissioner Shell,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Field,
Yes.
Commissioner Zent,
Yes.
Vice Chair Johnson.
Yes, the motion is approved, and that completes our regular agenda, and we'll move on to other business. Is there any other business this evening? Daniel?
Vice Chair Johnson, if I may make just a couple of announcements, just for informational purposes. If the screen can be shared, I have there we are, great. So there are some openings on the Planning and Zoning Commission currently. As you may know, the city does new reopenings and reapplications for all of the boards on a yearly cycle. So the applications are open in November and the decisions are made in December. There are currently 3 openings on this board. So as you may recall, Commissioner Lukens did have to step down. He moved out of the jurisdiction of the Planning and Zoning Commission. So his seat would be a 2-year term. and then there's 2 5-year terms. All of these are city terms, so all of the ETA seats this cycle happen to not be up for application. So anyone watching from home, you may use this QR code or go into the city website if you'd like to apply by November 30th. Excuse me. That would be an option for you. I also just wanted to say as well that module excuse me, module 2 of the Land Development Code is now publicly available. It is on the website for the project at www.bismarckldc.org. You may recall in September, the consultants came and gave a presentation on this. I won't review any of that or go into any of the content of this beyond just to say that we're talking about development standards, subdivision design standards in Module 2. So that's available for reading, and there's an opportunity to comment on this document on the website as well. So we'd welcome anyone to do that. And finally, our Coffee with a Planner series is wrapping up for the season, but there's still a few options left. Staff from our department will be at these coffee shops over the next week or for the end of the month, and we'll have a copy of the Land Development Code, and we'll have a copy of some of the drafts, and we're welcoming anyone to sit down and talk with us and learn more about what's being proposed and give their feedback at that venue. So those are just some options that are available.
Thank you, Daniel. Any additional other business tonight? Okay. Our next regular meeting is December 17th, 2025. I will adjourn this evening's meeting. Thank you.